Hey guys, Roy here from Roy Cruise Photo, and today we are out in the woods, and this is actually right outside of the Yonghwasa Temple in Tongyong, South Korea. And this is one of my absolute favorite places to enjoy nature and go for quiet walks. But today we're going to be testing out some vintage lenses here. And you may recall a previous video that I did when I took my dad's old Olympus OM glass and used it with my Fujifilm mirrorless cameras. Today we're going to be doing something similar, but this time it'll be with some Pentax K-mount lenses that I borrowed from my good friend June. And those also used to belong to his dad, and they were bought in the 1970s or the 1980s. So thanks to mirrorless technology, we are going to be bringing those back into use and taking a look at them today. All right, so let's take a look at all the gear that we'll be using here today. The first lens is the Zycor MC Auto 28mm f2.8. And the 28mm focal length, of course, is or was a very common wide-angle focal length for the era, and this is fairly fast, f2.8, and this particular lens was made in Korea, so very interesting. The next lens we'll be looking at is the SMC Pentax M 50mm f1.4, and I'm looking forward to testing this lens wide open because that's where, that's where all the great out of focus bokeh is, and also the weaknesses of the lens come out wide open. So there you go, fast prime. Next up is the MC Izumic 80 to 210mm f4.5. It's a fixed aperture zoom lens. And there's also a built-in hood, which is awesome. Metal hood, and it's also apparently a macro. And it just slid. There it is, a macro. So this particular lens is very interesting and very intriguing because I looked it up online. I tried to find information about it online, but there was really none to be found. I don't know if I was doing the wrong search or looking in the wrong places, but Google search really came up with nothing. So if you have any information about the MC Izumic 80 to 210mm f4.5 zoom lens, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to find out more about this lens. It's made in Japan, but aside from that, I couldn't find it on eBay, I couldn't find it on Google. So very intriguing lens, and looking forward to using it today. And as usual with all of these lenses and lenses from the 70s and 80s era, they're very well made, mostly metal construction, and they feel really good in the hands. And all of their mechanisms, their focusing and zooming in this case, is super smooth and feels really good. And today's adapter, of course, is the K&F Concept PK to FX. So that's Pentax K-mount to Fuji X mount. I actually just opened this, so here's a mini unboxing for you. And there is the adapter. Again, K&F Concept is probably my go-to brand for adapters because they make really good stuff for a really good price. So that's our adapter today. And we will be shooting on my trusty Fujifilm X-H1. The main reason for that is because this body has IBIS, in-body image stabilization. So I've packed very light today, no tripod for this camera, and we'll be shooting everything handheld. So the in-body image stabilization, or IBIS, of this camera is quite good, and I think it'll be really helpful for us in this test, and it'll make things easy for us in this shoot. So that is our gear. So let's get to testing. So to test the first couple of lenses, we've come to the front of the temple area here, and I just love how the light is coming through the foliage in front of the temple facade here. It's really beautiful. So the first lens we're going to test is the Zycor 28mm f2.8. So as usual, I've already got all my settings dialed in. Make sure you set shoot without lens on, and also set your lens focal length. Not only does that give you proper EXIF data, but it also, for video, gives you proper IBIS. It gives you the proper IBIS setting so that the stabilization works really well. And by the way, there is a fountain behind me, and I hope that's not too noisy at the moment. So let's go ahead and shoot. All right, so we're starting wide open at f2.8. And there's definitely a little bit of softness here. Contrast isn't the greatest, but it's serviceable. You know, it's got a nice soft look to it. And the IBIS is working really well to stabilize us at the moment, which is great because I don't have a tripod. It makes things a lot easier. So let's find a composition and take a photo. All right, so let's set it to f8, close it down, and I'm sure we're gonna get more sharpness this time around. So bumped up the ISO a little bit to compensate for that. And yes, definitely a lot more sharpness and contrast on f8. There it is. Just a little panning action. Flare it up, go from the side. And let's take a photo. Okay, so I was a little worried about the fountain sound, so I moved over to the garden area of the temple, which is equally beautiful. And I've actually found some flowers here, and it'll be perfect to test our next lens, which is the SMC Pentax M 50mm f1.4. So of course I'm going to, once I dial in my settings again, shoot without lens on, mount adapter setting 50. Okay, focal length settings has been set, and I'm going to shoot wide open, ISO down. Okay. And rolling video. Wow. That's gorgeous. And this lens is actually performing really, really well wide open. Let's rack focus a bit here. Beautiful. So I think this is the perfect subject to test the bokeh and the out of focus areas, as well as the sharpness of this lens. Gorgeous. Wow. So let's take a photo. I also forgot to mention that I am using focus peaking, of course, as a focusing aid. It helps a lot, so I definitely recommend that. There are other focus aids as well, like the digital split image or something like that, but focus peaking is what works best for me. All right, so we already know that this lens isn't going to look as stunning at f8 given this subject, but you know, for completeness of the test, let's set it to f8, increasing ISO just to be sure. Just a little tiny bit. And well, let's see how the close focusing on this lens is actually around 0.45 meters. So maybe So this is, let's see, this is as close as this lens will focus. And of course, we've lost all of that beautiful out of focus area, the bokeh. But we've also gained a lot of sharpness. Let's take a photo. Okay, so now we're testing the Izumic 80 to 210 millimeter f.5 macro. This is a zoom lens with a push-pull action, and we're going to engage the built-in hood. Really nice. And I have to be a little quiet now because there's a crane out in the reservoir, and it's actually the perfect subject for us. I'm going to use the viewfinder, the EVF instead of the LCD for some added stability. And I'm going to roll video. So this is wide open at f4.5, and it's really looking good on video. I've dialed in the lens focal length so that the IBIS will work better with the lens. So I have to keep it at 210 millimeters so that the IBIS works properly. If I change it, then the stabilization might not work as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take a photo. Okay, so I'm going back into video mode to test out f8, which is most likely the sweet spot of this lens. It's the sweet spot for most lenses in terms of sharpness. And we're going to do the same thing. Rolling video again at f8 here. See if that looks any sharper. It does. But the 4.5 was actually really nice to begin with. So this lens is killing it at the moment, and the IBIS seems to be working really well, even handheld. Now, again, using the EVF for better focus and more stability. So let's take a photo. So the test of the Izumic wouldn't be complete if I didn't show you the other focal lengths. So because we're limited by the IBIS, we have to set it each time we change focal length. I'm going to show you 80, and then I'm going to show you 120. And that should give us a good idea of how this lens performs. All right, so that was awesome. I had a lot of fun testing the lenses, and I'd like to thank June again for lending me his wonderful Pentax K lenses for this video, and all of them performed really well today, I think. I don't really need to choose favorites, but that 50mm f1.4 kind of blew me away wide open. So, you know, if you can find one of those, keep an eye out for that. Keep your eye open for, you know, good deals on Amazon or on eBay, or maybe even your local flea market. Who knows, you might get lucky and find some treasures in your basement or attic. So again, mirrorless technology is awesome for adapting these old lenses and bringing them back. So I'm on my way down from the temple now, and that was an excellent shoot. I had a lot of fun, but I am starving. Luckily, there is a place nearby, a really good place nearby for makgeolli and pajeon, and I'm gonna go get some of that. And if you know what that is, hit me up in the comments below. So as usual, I'm gonna leave you with some images that I've taken with these 3 lenses. I've only had them for about a week, so haven't had a chance to take them out except for a couple of times, but I think I got some good images. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you liked this video. And if you did like it, please, give it a like. And if you want to see more, do subscribe to the channel. So again, this has been Roy from Roy Cruz Photo. Thanks for watching, and take care.